the functions and the terms and technical things. So for how will you define a firewall? A firewall is defined as a device or a software for implementing a security policy. This can be a single device, or it can also be a group of devices working together to perform the same job as a firewall and implementing a security policy. That is how we generalize what a firewall is. The second point is, what is a security policy? A security policy is a rule which is decided in order to protect an information or an information system or an infrastructure. For example, you want to block social media access to all the users. That is, you don't want them to go to Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or any such social media website because your company policy says so. Maybe your organization is handling sensitive customer information. You don't want your users to or your employees of that organization accidentally share any sensitive information onto these websites. So you want to completely block those websites. So this is one example of a security policy. All right. So how do you implement this? Now, a security policy can be implemented on an individual device. That is, if there is a computer, you can put a rule on that computer saying that this particular computer cannot access social media website. That is one way to do that. But usually we don't have a single computer in the entire organization, right? We have a group of computers interconnected with each other. So we have 2, 3, or maybe over 1,000 computers interconnected with each other. So you want to apply policy to the entire group. How do you do that? Well, you will have to do it at one location. That is the edge of your network, which would be the point where your network will be connected to some external network. Maybe you are connected to internet in general, for example. So you have your router here. You may have your router or a gateway device, whatever it is. So you will make sure that whichever device is in between your network, that is organization network, which we will call it as a LAN, and the external network, which we will call it as a internet, the device which is sitting in between these two has to implement this security policy. When you are doing that, then this device will act as a firewall. This is in general definition of a firewall. Okay, and then so why software firewall? What is the meaning of software firewall? Do we really have a software firewall? Well, usually software firewall means the firewall which is present or installed within the computer of the end user. So this is called as endpoint protection. This is called endpoint protection. What is endpoint protection? Endpoint protection is given to the computers which are part of the network, and the software, you are going to install certain software which will have a inbuilt firewall. For example, if you are having a Windows operating system, then Windows operating system will have one firewall. A computer itself will have one Windows firewall. So it does a basic job, fairly good job, I can say. And then next, you will also have third-party softwares which could be installed. For example, it could be a McAfee. Okay, McAfee antivirus tool you have installed. Along with that antivirus, you are also going to get your McAfee firewall. And then so what is this McAfee antivirus doing? Well, basically it is providing not only firewall solution, but it may even protect your computer additionally with malwares and ransomware and all those stuff. So the vendors, whoever are selling this antivirus tools or security tools, they bundle lot of things, and one of them will be your firewall. Another example is Kaspersky. So there will be many things which these products will have. One among them is firewall. And sometimes there are some softwares which you can install. Let's say you are a home user, you are not part of a LAN and you don't have a fancy firewall here. Then what to do? You don't want to even purchase all these things. Then there are some free softwares which act as a firewall, like TinyWall is one more example here. And then we have Komodo firewall. Komodo firewall is a one good example where these are free. You can install and you can configure them on your own. Okay, but as I told you, these are free and you are on your own. Okay, buying a third party firewalls like a McAfee, Kaspersky, they have their own perks. Because if you are on your own, then you should also know which are good websites, which are bad websites, and which IPs to visit and which IPs not to visit. You will have to update all those things manually here because it's free. No one is there to support you. So here there will be dedicated teams who will support you. Okay, by constantly updating the database of these softwares with blacklisted IP addresses or spam websites or whatever it is. So basically endpoint protection is a software which is installed individually on the machines. Okay, so if you are doing that in a business network which already has a firewall, then it's a good thing because you are giving two-layer protection here. Layer 1 is your perimeter and layer 2 is your endpoint protection. So this type of a technique of implementing a two-layer security is called as defense in depth. Defense in depth. Okay, so let us revise what we have learned so far. So what did we learn? The firewall is a software for implementing a security policy. A security policy is, for example, blocking a user's website. This one example I gave you. It need not be that reason. Could be many other things. That let's say I'll tell you the functions of the firewall in a moment. But this security policy can be implemented with an individual firewall, or you can have a group of devices as well. And then you have endpoint protection. Another thing which we have learned, endpoint protection is the software which is installed on a computer. Okay, which will, one of the features will be a firewall. Correct. So let's go back. So far any questions, anyone? You can ask me in the comment. Is everything okay? Wonderful. So this is what exactly the picture looks like. So we have our internet, we have our router with the firewall. Now what is a router? A router is a device which will route our IP packets from one network to another network. That is the basic function of a router. It looks at the IP packets, okay, and it would look up in its own database called as a routing information database or routing table, and when a route is found, it is going to route that packets towards the networks. For example, when you are trying to reach from your laptop to Google, and if you just have a router, so router will look up the routing table, and depending upon what the routing table says the next hop is, so it is going to decide and it is going to forward that packet to the service provider's router. That would be the next hop usually. Now what is a router with firewall? What does it exactly do? Now router with firewall is not only routing the packets, but it is giving an additional layer of protection to your network. Let's suppose, for example, it will not allow ports other than 80 or 443 or 53 as a rule, as a security policy. Why? Because these are the only ports 90% of the traffic will depend on. For every domain name you type in the browser, the domain name needs to be resolved to an IP address, which the domain name service request will have to go to some domain name server on the internet. So that would go through port 53. The destination will be port 53. So this port 53 should be open on the firewall. Otherwise you will not be able to resolve any domain names, which is critical service, in order to access a website on the internet. So this needs to be allowed. And most of the traffic towards the internet, yeah, and let's say if you are accessing your bank account, or any sensitive logins are there, let's say you're logging into something, okay, you want your traffic to be encrypted. So you will make a virtual connection from your computer via the firewall to the bank server. This would be our TCP connection or a virtual connection. So this virtual connection end to end will be encrypted. That is, it will be encrypted if you are using HTTPS protocol. So the destination for this, all the IP packets will be 443. So this has to be allowed. These days every website is having this HTTPS. Most of the websites which are trusted websites, they have this HTTPS. So this is the most common traffic which you will see. So this port has to be allowed, right, apart from the DNS port. And then the third port which has to be allowed is 80 port. Okay, so 80 port again is just plain HTTP, the good old classic HTTP, which does not do any type of encryption. Usually there will be some informational websites which are read only. There will be some websites, maybe there is some university which want to display some there is no login on this page, but they just want to give you some information. So for them HTTP is still okay. So you may go out of your network via this. So apart from these, a firewall will not allow any other traffic to go out. That's a fundamental rule. 80, 443 and 53. Now if the router is without a firewall, this is with a firewall, without a firewall, then there is no restriction on the ports, the destination ports. Okay, you can access on any port whatever you want, which may pose a little trouble. Okay, because sometimes the malware, when it is infecting any of your machines, then that malware may send out a connection to some illegal server or some hacker server on some port, let's say 5555 or something like that, which if you don't have a firewall, that will allow the connections. So a router with firewall is what we should have at the minimum, and this is the basic thing you have to do. So this is called as filtering we are doing at layer 3 and layer 4 of OSI model. If we remember the basics of networking, layer 3 is network layer and layer 4 is the transport layer. Now at the network layer we have a protocol IP which is managing everything there, and then at the transport layer we have TCP and UDP protocols running the show. So what you are doing here is basically you are filtering either on the IP packets or based on the TCP or UDP. Now can you tell me how can we filter the packets? What technology do we use in order to filter the packets at layer 3 using just router? Anyone? We have done that in networking, if you remember. Okay. So ACL, access control list. Remember ACLs? ACLs were two types. One was standard ACL and another one was extended ACL, isn't it? The standard ACL was the one which was used for filtering the traffic at layer 3, and extended ACL was used for filtering the traffic at layer 4. Now can anyone tell me, if you are having this type of an approach, will there be any drawback? Is there any drawback on this one? For this kind of an approach where you are filtering the traffic which you think is good enough. See, let's say you are sending a traffic from a machine 192.168.1.2 to 177.1.2.3 on port number 443, which is fine, you think, isn't it? Because this is a port which is secure port and you are allowing all the traffic. Okay, now I'll get back to this in a moment. Now imagine a situation where your laptop is infected with some malware. No, by pen drive or maybe in email you have downloaded some software and your PC gets infected for some reason. So what happens? This malware usually makes a reverse TCP connection towards a malicious server on the internet on port number 443. So when it is going out, the traffic will have the destination port number as 443. Now according to your firewall rule, 80 is allowed, 443 is allowed, and 53 is allowed. This is a basic router with firewall. Okay, so it's not just full and firewall. All right, so what happens here? Your firewall, according to the rule, should allow this traffic. So this traffic is going out, and then a reverse traffic is also allowed. So there is this flaw, that is, we can't completely depend our entire security based on just filtering the packets based on IP address and port numbers. You can't do that. We need to have a better firewall which can not only understand layer 3, layer 4, but it should also be able to understand what is going on within the packets. So it should be able to filter at layer 5, which is session layer. It should be able to do the filtering at 6 and as well as 7. So all the modern firewalls what we have, these are application layer firewalls, or which can do the filtering, or we can do content inspection. That's what we call it as a correct word, which will be able to understand what kind of encryption is being used, what kind of a traffic is going on, where it is going, what kind of a code it is. Everything is understood by the firewall, and it would do a better job, not just based on port numbers and IP address. Yeah, so this is the firewall which we should be always looking for. So what did we understand? Just a little revision here. We can have a firewall implemented just with the router itself. That is, we can only allow port 80, 443 and 53 outside. So that's a very basic firewall. Okay, but this is doing the filtering at which layers? 3 and 4 only. So if you want to have more control over the traffic which is going out, then we have to think about a firewall which can also detect, or which will be able to inspect, not detect actually, inspect the traffic which is going out at layer 5, 6 and also 7. This is application firewall. Next, one more term here. See, what is the meaning of inbound filtering or ingress traffic? When the traffic is coming from internet towards the firewall, okay, that traffic is called as an inbound traffic or ingress traffic. Inbound traffic or ingress traffic. Okay, see, just think about this. For the firewall, this green color interface, this is the interface of the firewall which is facing the internet. Okay, so let's call this as GI 0 by 0, which is connected to the internet. So when the traffic is coming towards the interface, that traffic is called as an inbound traffic. When the traffic is going away from the interface, that is called as an outbound traffic. So by default, a firewall, when you buy a dedicated firewall like Cisco ASA or a good vendor firewall, SonicWall or anything, then by default there will be one rule. The rule says that any traffic which is coming from outside interface, okay, by default this will be blocked. No traffic is allowed directly from outside network to inside network. What is inside network? Inside network is our network which is behind the firewall and the network which we trust. What is outside network? The network which is other side of the firewall, which we do not have any control on. We do not know who is there on the other side. So that is called as outside network. So when the traffic is coming directly from outside to inside, the firewall would block it. Why? Because it has got a inbound filtering to block all the traffic. Is that clear? This is the default policy which every firewall will have. Okay, in the later session we will also see how it works using Packet Tracer and Cisco ASA also. And if you remember this term NAT, what is the full form of NAT? Yes, anyone? Let me know if you are still there with me. Just chat something on the chat box. Say full form of the NAT. What is it? Naveen? I'm sorry about the noise coming from outside. Very good. Network address translation. So what exactly does network address, good Naveen, network address translation do? Network address translation would change the IP header information. Okay, that is the basic job of what a NAT is. Okay, when the IP packet is going from one interface to another interface, which is from inside interface to outside interface. So network address translation is the function of a router. Okay, so when you are going out 192.168.1.1, you want to communicate to some machine here on the internet, which is 1.2.3.4. obviously your IP packet will have 192.168.1.1 in the source. So as soon as this packet is arriving at the router, then this router will think, okay, fine, this one is a private IP address, so this cannot be routed directly into the internet, so I will use my external IP address or the IP address which is mentioned in the NAT to change the IP address in the source of the IP packet. So maybe let's say my external IP address is 200.1.2.3. so the source of the IP packet, once it is coming out, will have this IP address, and this is how it is going to go out. So that's a NAT. That is also one more function of a firewall. Two things we have seen. A firewall will directly block all the traffic directly coming from outside to inside, and two, all the traffic which is going from inside to outside will be NATed. This is second function of a firewall. Now you may observe here a little wall here is there on this laptop. Okay, so what is this little wall here? Now imagine a situation where you are not in your corporate environment. This is your corporate network. So your corporate network, you are protected with your big firewall, okay, which will protect you from the external threats. Now imagine you are carrying your laptop to a public network like a hotel or a railway station or an airport, okay, where obviously there is there is no way we can verify if they have actually installed a firewall in that Wi-Fi network or not. It's a public network, you don't trust anything there. So when you are putting your device in such networks, who is there to protect you? Then you have this small firewall. This is the one which I have told you in the beginning of the session, that is, this is our endpoint software or endpoint protection. This is going to protect us from threats whenever we are connecting to a public network. Now what is that? It can be an inbuilt firewall, a Windows firewall also. Windows firewall again will ask you which type of a network are you connected to. Are you connected to your domain? Then it will apply the rules which are applied for domain. Then are you connected to a public network, or are you connected to your home or private work network? Windows firewall. Okay, other than this, as I told you, McAfee or Kaspersky, whatever firewall you install, it will have its own rules over there, right? Wonderful. Next, so this is how endpoint protection will help you or help a device whenever the device is going outside the network. I hope this is clear. So anybody who is trying to communicate directly to you in the public network, he will have to actually go through the firewall, because again he is considered an outside network. So outside traffic is directly not allowed to communicate with you to the inside. I hope this is clear. Let's move on. Alright, so this one we have already explained. Now what is the traffic which is going from the trusted machines to internet? What do you call this traffic as? Now this traffic which is going from the trusted machines to outside, it is called as a outbound traffic from the firewall point of view. Here, remember, from the firewall point of view, firewall will have one interface inside facing the LAN. Okay, so the traffic is coming again towards him, right? But the firewall point of view, this is going from inside network to outside network. So this filter is called as an outbound filtering. The traffic is going from inside network to outside network, or this is also called as an egress traffic. Egress traffic. So are we going to have a filtering for this? Of course we are going to have a filtering. Remember the 3 ports which I have told you. Can anyone recall all the 3 ports, please, which should be allowed? What are the 3 ports which has to be allowed? In general, port number 80, port number 443 and port number 53. So these are the ports which is usually allowed. This is our egress traffic. Okay, and as I told you, if you have a basic filtering firewall, very good, basic filtering firewall, then that may not stop any reverse TCP connections. What's a reverse TCP connection? See, usually whenever we are trying to communicate to a genuine website on the internet, if you remember TCP communication, it's a 3-way communication. See, first it is going to be a SYN packet which is sent from inside network to outside network on particular port number, and if this is service is running on this port on the server, then it is going to give a reply back. Then that would be a SYN ACK message as a reply. The reply will be SYN and acknowledgement message, and then you are going to have from your side acknowledgement message that you have received his SYN ACK. From your side, this is a 3-way handshake process. So this is the normal TCP 3-way handshake communication. So now the question is, who is starting this communication? It is starting from inside to outside. Is the rule allowing inside to outside communication on port number 443? Yes, it is. It is allowed from inside to outside. Okay, now we may have a question here. Sir, you said like the traffic which is coming from the internet is blocked. Then how is it this SYN ACK message coming through the firewall? See, as a rule, I told you that firewall would stop any traffic which is coming directly from outside to inside. What is that? Directly from outside to inside. Now, is this coming directly from outside to inside? No, it is not. The firewall would remember this TCP session. Firewall will remember this TCP session. Okay, and it will maintain a table of its own. It depends upon which type of firewall you are using. So every firewall will maintain a session table, and in this session table, for this session, it is going to assign a unique identity for this session. Okay, once the session is going out, when the traffic is coming back again, for example, the SYN ACK packet is coming back again, it will know that this session was initiated from inside to outside, and this is the return traffic for that. It's a reply packet for the same session which was initiated from inside to outside. So this is bound to open that. So this table in Cisco, we call it as a state table or a stateful firewall. This is what we say. Name in Cisco. So the other firewalls will have their own names, but whenever the state of the TCP session, is remembered by the firewall, okay, that type of a firewall is doing a function of stateful packet inspection or stateful firewall, you can say here. All right, then hackers already know this, isn't it? The hackers already know that they see first thing, they cannot send any traffic directly from outside to inside. Okay, the only way to hack a network is install some malware, or uh, you know, infect one of the machines with a malware somehow. Maybe you are using a phishing technique, or you may be using a social engineering technique, or by installing this, maybe you are just throwing away a pen drive or giving the pen drive free to this employee for some reason, social engineering, anything like that. Once he is installing that software or clicking anything here, then what happens in the back end of his computer? A TCP SYN message, a TCP SYN packet would go out to the malicious server which is outside your network on port number 443. And because this was initiated from inside to outside, okay, my firewall wouldn't understand this session and it will allow the session, because it does not know where the traffic is going to, isn't it? This is how clever hackers would be. They already know that by default any basic firewall would not allow any traffic coming from outside to inside. So what will they do? They infect the machines inside, and once the machine is infected, it is going to initiate a session from inside to outside directly. Okay, and your firewall would not stop. They are going to trick the firewall. This type of a communication, or this type of a hack or attack, whatever you call it as, is called as a reverse TCP attack or reverse TCP session. I hope you have understood this reverse TCP. Let's move further. So in order to protect networks, again within your own network you will have to isolate the networks. For example, in your own organization you may have a Wi-Fi network. We all know that Wi-Fi network is completely untrustworthy network. Someone can easily hack into your Wi-Fi network, no big deal. So you don't want your production traffic to be on the Wi-Fi network. You don't want your production traffic to be on the Wi-Fi network. So what will you do? You want that traffic to be isolated from your production traffic or your regular traffic. So firewalls, whenever you purchase a firewall apart from having a interface, inside interface and outside interface, firewalls will also come with a provision of creating additional interfaces. Okay, so these interfaces are called as demilitarized zones or DMZ. So how will the firewall identify the traffic which is coming from inside, or traffic from outside, or traffic coming from the DMZ? So firewall is going to give a security level. For example, ASA is going to give a security level of 0. 0 means completely untrusted traffic. Do not trust anything coming from this interface. Okay, every possible filter has to be applied to this one. And then inside network, okay, which is our own network, so it will be given 100% trust. So the level number would be 100 by default, and then you can give any number between 0 to 100 for this DMZ traffic. Maybe I'm going to give 50. Okay, and by default traffic will not be allowed directly from a low trusted network to a high trusted network, which means here if someone manages to hack your Wi-Fi, he cannot send packets to your LAN. That's not possible, because you are at a lower level and you are trying to send a traffic which is towards a higher level interface. So that's not possible. I hope this is clear. So there are three security levels, or what is three? Can be any number of security levels you can have here. Okay, so the lower security level is less trustworthy and the higher security level is more trustworthy. So traffic cannot directly pass from a lower security level to a higher security level. This is one more uh, you know term, technical things which you have to understand in firewalls. Any firewall you pick up, it is going to have definitely more than one interface, and you can give a level to that interface. In a practical session we will discuss about this. Okay, so all the traffic is identified and it is dealt with a different type of policy. So a traffic coming from trusted devices will be dealt in a different way, and different security levels when it is going out here. All right, so all good so far? Yeah. Now the most common problem with the firewalls which I have seen with the network IT administrators mostly is people tend to use peer-to-peer softwares to bypass the firewall rules. To bypass the firewall rules, they are going to use peer-to-peer softwares like a BitTorrent. Okay, BitTorrent. Most of the torrent websites are banned in India, so we don't have this headache now. But people these days are also using VPN connectivity or proxy VPN proxies in order to bypass the firewall rules. Let's say you have kept a firewall rule that Facebook is not allowed. You kept a firewall rule that Facebook is not allowed for any of the users. So what will they do? What will the users do? Now the users they will use a software called VPN proxy. There are many varieties of softwares which are available. Okay, UC browser is one such software, or you can use Tor, Onion Network. Yeah, many things are there. So what exactly is a VPN proxy? Well, basically a VPN proxy is your rule says Facebook is not allowed, YouTube is not allowed. That's it. Now when a user will directly have the destination domain name as Facebook web server name or a YouTube IP address, then immediately our firewall will block the traffic. So the users will use a VPN proxy. What is a VPN proxy? It's a software. What does the software do? This software is going to start a reverse TCP connection. That is, it is going to create some port 5555 something like that locally, and then it is going to make a connection on 443 to a server here on the internet. So this will be my proxy server. This will be my proxy server here on the internet. So a connection would be made. Now obviously this is not going to Facebook, this is not going to YouTube, so this is allowed because 443 is allowed. So you are going to make a go, you can go outside. Once a connection is established with the proxy server is also going to send it, and it is going to complete the TCP three-way handshake process. Once it is done, okay, once it is done, this user will send the traffic to YouTube. First he will send it to this proxy server, and proxy server on behalf of this user is going to connect to YouTube or Facebook. So what's going on here? What's going on is, well, basically these softwares are fooling the firewall. They are not directly connecting to the YouTube or Facebook, but they are actually connecting to some proxy server on the internet, and via this proxy server they are going to connect to YouTube or Facebook. What to do now? You are a IT administrator, then your firewall should be able to do better than that. So when you purchase a firewall, make sure that that firewall is able to detect this type of software traffic as well. So for example, in this firewall called the pfSense firewall, Okay, so this firewall is able to detect the protocol called BitTorrent. Okay, and then it is going to drop all the traffic which is going or using or used by this software. Okay, and then you may say, sir, BitTorrent, maybe today we will be able to understand this, but tomorrow this fellow may get a new software. What to do in that case? Maybe new software will come. Yeah, so your firewall will not be able to detect that, right? Then when you purchase a firewall, again you will get a license. You have to purchase with a license. What is the use of license? Well, basically a license comes with a lot of perks here. One is the support on the firewall. You're not able to, if something is not working for you, a rule or anything like that, you can call the vendor, he will help you there. That is one thing. Second, he is going to update your firewall with latest IP addresses which are blacklisted. Okay, and then he is also going to update your firewall with a list of new peer-to-peer softwares which you may be using or you may not be using, but he's going to update that information as well. So your firewall will basically have a latest list of all the threats which are on the internet. Okay, so your firewall will be learning every day from the vendor if you have a licensed firewall. Okay, usually this security companies, they earn money not exactly on the device. Most of the income is coming from the license. The device is, yes, we have a device, that is true, that there is a device. Maybe the device cost is about the hardware cost is 25,000, but the actual cost of the license and everything would be more, maybe 75,000 or something like that. So you will have to purchase the device for 75,000. That comes with the license for 3 years. So the device itself may cost them 25,000. So extra 50,000 is for supporting you and updating that firewall day to day. All right. And these firewall companies, they also maintain a customer database overall. That means not only your network, but not only your network, let's say they have customers all over the globe. Okay, so whenever the firewall would detect a threat, immediately that information is updated in their own database and everyone else is updated with that. Yes, the firewall, there is some threat detected, and all the information is passing to everyone else in the network. So let me show you what is going on. Let me pull up a browser and show you here. See, this is a Kaspersky real-time map. So they are trying to show you that they are detecting a lot of threats from their security. This is combined view of their entire security products, if I am not wrong. So here they are saying that our customers are everywhere on the globe and there has been some threat which has been detected. Okay, and this is the information about that threat. So here they have given every second this number is increasing. So this is on access scan, and this is on demand scan, and this is a mail antivirus which was detected, and then the web antivirus which was detected, and intrusion detection system, the IDS, which is again one more feature of a firewall, has detected some vulnerability. Okay, and then anti-spam and botnet activity detection. So all these things the firewall organization will learn every day. They constantly get updating themselves every day so that the firewall is protected to the core. Okay, right then. So for today, this theory should be enough for you. So tomorrow we are going to have one more session at the same time, and in tomorrow